Hello everybody and welcome to Washed in the Blood Outdoors. Today I'm going to take my first stab at building my own arrows, and I figured I would video that process and kind of talk about why I'm switching. So this right here is the arrow that I shot last year. It's about 525 grains, it's 300 spine, 11.2 grains per inch with 125 grain broadhead up front. And I was shooting, this is a field point, but I was shooting the Day 6 Evo broadheads. This is a Day 6 arrow, Day 6 outsert, max hunter vanes. But the reason I'm switching is because I wanted to go to a little bit lighter arrow, and I want to shoot mechanicals this year. And I'll talk about that a little bit later too. But basically, as I said in my video where I shot my Kansas buck, it was a great shot and there just wasn't really a blood trail. And I would kind of like to avoid that this year. I want to get a blood trail so that in case I don't hear the deer fall down like I did last year, I can actually track him down and go find it. But so this is last year's arrow, and this is what I'm going to be shooting this year. This is a Black Eagle Rampage. The last arrow was a 4mm. This is a 5mm, 300 spine, 8.7 GPI, so it's going to be lighter. I don't have an arrow scale, but I think it's going to be around 440 to 450 grains. So it's not crazy light. It's not a whole lot lighter, but it is lighter. So I think I'm going to get some more speed out of that, shoot a little bit flatter, and have less of a chance of a deer ducking my string or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for the spine. I'm going to spine align these things, and I'll show you that process, and then I'll cut them on the arrow saw, use some sandpaper to kind of sand it down a little bit. I'll glue the inserts in, put my arrow wrap on, put the fletchings on, let that dry, and then tomorrow I'm going to tune up my bow, and I'll show that process as well. So stay tuned and hopefully you enjoy. Okay, so I apologize for the weird camera angle, but I don't have a taller tripod, and this is what I'm working with for now. But I'll explain what I'm going to do. I have this mouse pad here on my table. I'm going to put the end of the arrow down on that, and then I'm going to bend the arrow and roll it in my hand until I can kind of feel where it wants to stop rolling. And I'll take this Sharpie and mark where that point is. And the reason I'm doing this is so that I can put the cock vane on the spine of the arrow, because obviously when you shoot, your arrow doesn't come out of the bow straight like that. It's got a little bit of wave to it, and if you have that spine either up or down, it'll come out like this instead of at some weird wonky angle like this. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll probably only show like one or two of these because I have a dozen arrows and that would take a while. But I'm going to put the arrow down like this, and then I'm going to bend it with my hand, and you're not going to break your arrow doing this, and then just roll it like this until you can feel it not want to roll anymore. Feels like it might have been right about there. And I'm new to this, so I might not get this exactly right. It feels like it's right there. Right there. So what I'm going to do is take my Sharpie and put a mark on the arrow so that I know to put the cock vane on this side of the arrow facing up. So I'll set this arrow aside, pick up another one, and do it with this arrow too. And there's another way that you can do this with a bow press that's probably easier than doing it with your hand, because it's a lot more visual. But I'm gonna keep doing this, and then I will catch you guys at the arrow saw. Alright, so like I said, not the best angle, and I apologize for that, but I'm gonna try and get the best angle of this possible. What I'm gonna do is get this tape measure out and measure my old arrow from the tip of the insert to where the nock goes in. And I've got right under 27 inches. And the thing is that these arrows are a little short and I want to go a little bit longer. So what I think I'm going to do is set my lock here at probably 27 1/4. That way, actually I'll go 27 1/2. That way my arrow's a little bit longer. And since I'm going to be shooting these nocturnal nocks instead of regular nocks, I'm going to cut each arrow with a nocturnal nock in it. So you set this nock, you put the arrow in, and then when you turn the blade on and you actually go to cut the arrow, you want to rotate the arrow into the blade. And this is my first time doing this, so I'm a little nervous, but it's got to get done. Alright, so we've got our sandpaper here, and now I'm just going to take each one of these arrows and just hit it with the sandpaper a little bit. Alright, so I think those are all good now, and what I'm going to do is start applying the wraps. I got carbon dust all over my hands. So I'm going to take this paper towel and I'm just going to kind of wipe down the end of the arrow. I'll take my wraps and I'm just going to use this same mouse pad for rolling the wraps out. I think I want, yeah, I'll have the boning logo off to the back there. So now I'm just going to take the arrow and try and line it up as best as I can and roll that wrap on there. Just like that. And then the instructions also say to roll it in between your hands for 20 seconds. To activate the adhesion, and that's what it looks like when it's done. So hopefully once I get the veins on there, it'll all look nice and pretty. I'm going to do another one now. Get another arrow and get another wrap laid out. I forgot to wipe this one down. Just like that. Roll it between your hands. grab another one. And the reason I'm doing these white wraps, and you'll see later I'm doing white veins as well, is because for the first point, I just think it's much easier to, I mean, I'm shooting a lighted knock anyways, but I think it's just easier to find the arrow when it's in the air and watch where it hits the deer, which is obviously very important because you have to know where you hit. And two, after you hit the deer, when you go get your arrow and do a shot analysis, it is really easy on these white wraps and white veins to analyze the kind of blood that you got on the arrow, telling you kind of what vital organs you hit. You know, so if you have really, really bright red blood, it could just be muscle if it's got like some streaky fat in there, or it could be hard if it doesn't have any of that fat in there. If it's light pink with air bubbles in it, that means you hit the lungs. If it's really dark blood, then you probably hit the liver. And if it's like greenish and got what looks like kind of stomach matter on there, then obviously you've hit the stomach. Kind of gives you an indication of how long you should wait to go track that deer. And having it on a white background, like I said, just really gives you a good visual instead of, you know, having it on different color veins. Plus, I just think that the white on white looks really good, so there's another little bonus. I think now might be a good time to mention too, if you watched my other video, I mentioned that I had a job opportunity or a job interview in Ohio. So I took that job and now I'm living in Ohio. I'm going to be hunting in Ohio this year and possibly hopping over the state line and hunting in either Indiana or Kentucky or something like that. Just kind of depends on if I get a buck in Ohio or not and how I'm feeling. But so I won't be hunting in Kansas anymore. That's quite the hike for me to go hunt, but I guess that's a little life update, what you can expect. I'm going to be hunting Ohio public land because as of right now I haven't gotten any permission anywhere and I haven't found a lease or anything like that, so I'm going to be hunting some Ohio public land. And I've got, if you follow my Instagram, which is the same name of my YouTube channel, I've got a couple pictures of some decent bucks on one of the pieces of public that I'm going to be hunting. So that's pretty exciting. I don't really know which one is bigger. They were pretty grainy pictures. I sold my Tacticam and I didn't put any Tacticams out there because I don't want them to get stolen. So I just got some cheaper trail cameras from Walmart. So it's not the best picture quality, but Intel is Intel, and I think it's nice to have cameras out and just kind of, especially in the summer, you can kind of get an idea of what's out there, and you're not, every time you go in to check the camera, it's not like you're really disturbing much because it's in the summer. And my guess would be that those two nice bucks I have on camera aren't going to be in the same spot in the fall anyways, just because, you know, unless a deer has no reason to move, for the most part they won't stay in the place that they summer at. They'll move to a different area once the season hits. So that'll be part of the chess match, I guess, with these deer. Is I've got them on camera in the summer, but I'll have to figure out where they go in the fall. But the camera that I have set up that I got these deer on is over an active scrape. So I guess it is possible that they won't move too far and they'll keep on checking that scrape further into the season, but we'll have to see. I don't know anything for sure yet. They're wild animals and you can't tell exactly what they're gonna do. So those deer are gonna do what they're gonna do, and I'm gonna have to try and get on them. That's part of the fun of hunting. If it was easy, it wouldn't be very fun. Oh, that one looks kind of bad. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there's a little bit of a weird crease right there. Oh well. That's what happens when it's your first time. You make mistakes. I just won't put this one in the quiver when it's game time, I guess. Just be a practice arrow. That one went on there much better. I know this part's taking a while, but bear with me guys, there's only 4 arrows left, and then we can move on to probably fletching first and then gluing in the inserts. I think would be the best way to do it. Putting the fletching or the vanes on and using the arrow saw were probably the parts about this I was most nervous about. Just because I am the type of person that wants my setup to be as perfect as it can be. And I want the only room for error to be me as the human shooting the bow instead of my equipment. But I've found, since I moved up here at the location I'm at in Ohio, that it just doesn't really seem like there's much in the way of bow shops around here, which is kind of unfortunate. But on the other hand, if it forces me to learn how to do all this stuff myself, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because having this knowledge, building your own arrows and putting your equipment together is in the long run just going to make you a better archer, because you'll be more in tune with your equipment and you'll know how everything works. And if you're able to work on your own bow, build your own arrows and all that stuff, if you ever have any problems, you never have to wait on a shop to have time to do it. You can just do it. Plus, honestly, it's just, to me, it's cool. And knowing how to do this stuff is cool to me. Like, even though there's part of me that is worried that I'll screw these arrows up, and yada yada, I think it's kind of fun that I'm sitting here building arrows and talking to myself. Oh, that one went up on the knock a little bit. Only one more, and then we can move on to fletching. That one went on there pretty nice. You know, at first when I bought these wraps, I was kind of unsure about having the boning logo on there. I thought it might look kind of goofy, but it doesn't bother me. I think it looks fine. So that was the last wrap. Now all of the arrows are wrapped and we can move on to putting the fletchings on. Okay, so basically the way this fletching jig works is it's magnetic on the back here. You put the fletching in here and then you put it on here on your arrow. Same thing with the saw. I'm gonna have to use these nocks because these are the ones that I'm using while hunting. So I'm just going to slide the knock in there, and then I'm gonna get it set like that. Oh no, not set like that. Alright, I think right there is gonna work. So what you do is take your vane, and put it in a clamp like that, and you take your glue. So I'm going to use this, fletch fuse and just put a couple drops maybe. Okay, I don't think it was open. Should be open now. Let's test it. Yep. So just a couple drops of that glue on the fletching. And then slide this on here like this. And press it onto the arrow, and it looks like I got a lot of excess glue on there, so I'm just going to wipe that off with a Q-tip. and pull it off like that. Still quite a bit of excess glue on there, unfortunately. So apparently I used a little bit too much glue, but this is all a learning experience. Rotate it till it clicks. Put your other vein in the clamp, get glue on your finger, and I'm going to use a little bit less glue this time. Do the same thing. Just like so. Wipe off the excess. Let it sit for a second. Take your clamp off. You got your second fletching on there. Now I put the last fletching in the clamp. Put the glue on there. And then press the clamp on, wipe off the excess. Probably should use a new one. Now I've got 3 fletchings on my arrow. So I'm going to set this to the side. Grab another one. Use my black Sharpie mark to line it up with the knock, so I can make sure that my cock vein is in the right spot. Rinse and repeat. Oh, another thing I forgot to do with this arrow is called tipping and tailing. So you just put a little dab of glue on the front and the back of your veins, Hopefully I'm doing this in frame. And what this does is it helps your veins not tear off as you pass through a deer or shoot into a target or anything like that. This is going to be a long process, so I'll cut the camera here and do the rest of the arrows. Alright, got all the arrows fletched, and I'm just doing the tips and tails on this last one. And then we'll be ready to glue in some inserts. Set this one over here. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the arrow, take a Q-tip, and clean out the inside here. You can see all that carbon that came off when I did that. So now it's clean, and we're going to take our inserts, glue this bad boy up. To be honest, I'm not sure how much glue to use, but this is probably way too much. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's way too much. Stick it down in the arrow and wipe off all this excess, maybe, or get paper towel stuck to me in the arrow. Alright, so that was kind of a fail. I got paper towel stuck on my finger and stuck on the arrow shaft and all over the place. Alright, maybe I can burn that off or something. It is still all over my finger though. Okay, lesson learned. Use less glue. Let's try this again. Got our insert here. Really only need to put the glue down there because it pushes up. When you push the insert into the arrow shaft. And a Q-tip works much better for cleaning that off than the paper towel did. So that looks a lot better. And then we'll just keep going. And maybe I'll try and think of something to talk about while I do this. Or I'll just sit here with my mouth hanging open for no reason. But I've found throughout this process that, one, it makes sense why shops can take a fat minute to get your arrows fletched, because all I did was 12 and that took a while. So one, give your shop some leniency if they don't have your arrows done in a day, because if they got a bunch of arrows to do and they haven't got to yours, it takes a minute. But two, I'm learning that it's pretty fun to do all your own stuff like this. And I'm enjoying this process. The only thing is, like I said earlier, I hope I didn't really mess anything up. But it's all a learning experience. In the grand scheme of things, people used to run around with a stick with some hemp tied between it and shoot sticks that weren't straight with a rock on the end, tied onto the end of it, and kill deer and buffalo and other animals. So while all this stuff, making sure everything is done correctly is important, at the same time, you know, they used to kill animals with rocks and sticks. So while it may not be perfect, it's still going to kill deer if I put it in the right spot. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing with archery, not arrow weight or arrow spine or tip weight or FOC or cutting diameter. All of it plays second fiddle to shot placement. Shot placement is king. Dang, that glue dries fast. I'm like trying to spin the insert around and make sure the whole thing is coated in glue as it goes into the shaft, but you got to get it down in there quick because that glue dries really fast, which is a good thing. I mean, I'm gonna let these sit overnight before I try and tune my bow or anything anyways, but I don't want to have anything pulling out when it's not supposed to or anything like that, so I guess it's a good thing that it dries fast. It does leave little room for error. Wow, I can't talk. It does leave little room for error though. I've also gone through like 15 Q-tips already because they get the glue on the tip of them, and then they get crusty, and then they won't clean off Q-tips anymore because I was using them to clean off the excess when I was doing the fletchings too. It's a nice little arrow weight right there. You can tell that it feels very forward of center. But we'll see. Hopefully I didn't build these arrows and everything and it's the same exact weight as it was before, which I don't think is mathematically possible, but I've been wrong before. I guess you'll also have to let me know in the comments if you enjoy this type of video, like this gear review type video, because I can do more stuff. Like I could talk about the camo that I wear and why I wear it, which I guess I'll just mention real quick. In my last video when I killed that deer, I was wearing scent lock, and now I'm going to be wearing Badlands. But like I said, if you like the gear videos and you want more, I can do something about that. I can do one about my saddle setup. I could do one about my bow, which I guess there's not really much to talk about there, but ooh, I almost didn't get that one in. There's not much to talk about there with my bow, I guess, as far as like, it's a Bowtech 28-inch draw because that's what it has to be, 70 pounds, because why wouldn't you shoot 70 pounds if you can? Yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. There's not much to talk about, I guess. I do have a custom string on it that wasn't completely necessary, but it looks good. I'm almost done gluing up these inserts, and then I'll talk about oh no. Oh no. That one didn't go. Crap. I knew I was going to make a mistake at some point. Oh man, that sucks. I was just looking at the wrap, hoping it was the one that I messed up. Dang. I'm sure I can like grab a pair of pliers and yank that out maybe. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, after I glue up these inserts, I'll show you what broadhead I'm going to use, and we can talk about my broadhead choice and why. One more. That's it. Got all of them glued in. Except for this one. Piece of junk. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pull that out. But, I guess I'll grab this arrow. I'll take the field point out and put a broadhead in. Partly because I just want to see what it looks like with the broadhead in, because I'm just weird. I'll screw this broadhead in here. It looks good. So this is the new G5 T2 broadhead. This is what it looks like fully deployed. It's a 2-inch cut, 2-blade broadhead. And the reason that I went with this one is because G5 has a really good reputation with broadheads, and I've wanted to try a 2-blade mechanical for a while. Saw that this one came out. I watched a couple videos on it. I saw a video from John Dudley where he shot a turkey with it, and I was impressed with the entry and exit hole. So that's why I went with that instead of the 2-blade fixed blade that I was shooting last year. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the blood trails were extremely lacking on both of the deer that I shot last year with it. And I mean, it put the deer down, it did its job, it killed him. But I wasn't impressed with the blood trail, and personally, I would like to have a decent blood trail to follow. That way, if you don't see or hear the deer go down, you have a better chance of finding it, because literally after I shot those deer, it was like finding little tiny specks or not finding anything at all. But I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of these gear review type videos, or if you'd rather just see me try and shoot deer. If you're feeling charitable, like and subscribe. If not, no hard feelings. Thanks for watching the Blood Outdoors.